Hello and welcome. This is Growth Mindset and you're watching me, Arsalan. Today we are going to go through the basic functions that are necessary for the absolute beginners. But before that, you may click the I button above for accessing the link to the video which shows how the Excel sheet works. And the same link has been given down below in the comment section and in the description box for your ease. So let's just dive straight into the tutorial and see how these basic functions work. Today we will go through the formulas necessary for the beginners. We have a dataset that shows the car showroom sales report, and it comprises of the car type, group, quantity sold, unit price. Now we are going to apply different formulas that are absolute necessary for the beginners. First, we are going to see the simple arithmetic operators. We put an is equal to sign. We either press the left arrow key or we place the cursor and click over here. Then we insert an multiplying sign, that is asterisk sign, and then either we can go with the left arrow key or we can click over here and we have our formula completed that shows the revenue by multiplying the quantity sold with the unit price, and we press enter. Now we are going to go in the home tab and we can copy from here, or we can press Ctrl and C for copying. Now we press shift and down arrow key and press enter, and the formula is copied in each of the cells. For instance, if we have the revenue over here as shown over here, and we have the quantity sold and we want to calculate the unit price. So how we can do that? We're going to again press the is equal to sign. We're going to click over here. We're going to put a forward slash that is going to act as a dividing sign, and then we are going to divide it with the quantity sold, and we press enter, and 45,000 is the unit price. For instance, if we want to subtract cell E5 from cell E6, then we can use a minus sign and then we can press enter and we can get our result. There are multiple ways how we can use the sum formula. Either we can just press Alt and is equal to sign, and it covers all the data above it, and we can just press enter and get our desired result. We can do the same in the revenue. Either we select the data by pressing shift, control and down arrow key, and then we press Alt is equal to, and we get the total. We can also get total by applying the sum formula, that is sum. Either we press tab or we select from here and then shift and up arrow key. We close the bracket and we press enter and we get the sum through a formula. Likewise, if we want to add some of the cells and not the whole range, we can press is equal to write sum, press tab, press up arrow key. For instance, if we want to add the first three, so we can do like this also. We put a comma, then we bring the cursor in the next cell, bring a comma and bring it in the next cell and just close the bracket and we press enter. So we can calculate the sum like this also. And in a very simple way, we can do summation. For example, if we want to sum group 1, so simply we can just go over here in the cell, we click it, we press plus sign, then we go over here in the crossover plus sign, and then over here and we just press enter, and we have added the number 1 group by manually going in each cell and adding it. If we want to see that what is the unit average price, we can use the average function in Excel. We are going to place an is equal to sign, we are going to write average, and either we select again from here or we can press tab. We go up here and we select the whole range, we close the bracket and we press enter. So this is the average of all the cars appearing in the data set. Now what if we want to have an average with the group criteria? This is the group criteria over here, and we want to average a particular group. For that we can use average ifs. So again we're going to press is equal to, we're going to write average and we can select from here, press tab, and it is asking for the average range. So this is going to be the range that we want an average of. Criteria range 1 and criteria 1 set up a search pair whereby a range is searched for specific criteria. Once items in the range are found, their corresponding values in the average range are averaged out. So for that, we are going to see that the criteria range is going to be this range. We want the average based on this criteria range, and now we're going to give the criteria. For instance, if we want an average of the group 1, so we click over here, we close the bracket, and we press enter. We can check this manually. If you're going to apply the filter over here, select 1 and we press OK, and here we see that we have unit prices. And if we select all of these three by pressing shift and down arrow key, over here we see it has an average of 40,000, which is same as that it is appearing over here. So on the basis of this column, we wanted an average of this column, and based on the group criteria, this one, and then we gave the criteria out of this group range. We wanted a particular group for which we wanted an average, and we got our results. Now for instance, if we want to see that what is the minimum unit price in our data set, how we can find that, we're going to use the minimum function. We're going to write min, we press tab, we go above in the data set, we press shift control down arrow key, we close the bracket and we press enter. So 22,000 is the minimum unit price of any car type. And likewise, if we want to see the maximum price, we are going to use the max formula, the max function. Again, we go in the data set and we select shift control down arrow key, we close the bracket and we press enter, and here we see that 125,000 is the largest amount that is appearing over here. Now if we want to sum with the group criteria as we had done in the AVERAGEIFS, how we can do that? We want a summation of the revenue based on the group criteria, so we are going to press is equal to SUMIFS, we press tab. This is going to be the sum range that we want to sum, so we select all of this range. The criteria range, we want to make the group as a criteria range, so we select the whole range, and in that we select a criteria of the group number 4 and we close the bracket and we see that what are the results. So we have got 117.6 million as a total, and again we apply the filter on the criteria 4, and here we see that if we total it, the above two values, it is 117,600,700, which is same as this. Moving to our next function, we're going to use aggregate function, which is an advanced feature of the subtotal function. Both of the functions work in the same way, but we are going to use the aggregate function because it offers much more flexibility. We have aggregate, we press a tab. Now for instance, if we want sum, we have this, we select either from here, or we can simply press 9 from the numerics, we place a comma, and now it has given us further options, and we're going to go with the third option, ignore the hidden rows, error values, nested subtotals and aggregate functions. So we can press from here, or we can simply write 3, we put a comma, and now we're going to give the array that we want the total of. So we go in the data set and we select all of this, we close the bracket and we press enter. Now here we can see that both of the formulas, the total sum and the aggregate function, is showing the same results. But what happens if you're going to place the filter onto the group and see how both of these functions behave differently? So we're going to place the first group and we are going to press OK, and here we can see now here in the sum formula it is showing the sum of all the rows, even those rows that are hidden. But at the same time, the aggregate function is showing only the total of the rows that are shown after the filter has been applied. So whatever the data is presented on a screen after the application of the filter, it is calculating the sum of that only. So if we sum that, we see over here it matches with the sum over here. Now moving on to our next function, we're going to apply the count and COUNTA functions. For instance, if we want to count the car types, so we are going to write count, we press tab, we bring it our data by moving the cursor into our data table, and then we select all of these car types. We close the brackets and we press enter. It is showing 0. We're going to come later to it that why it is showing 0. But at the same time, if you're going to use COUNTA function, we press is equal to, we write COUNTA, we press tab. Now we go again in the data set, we press shift and down arrow key, we close the bracket, we press enter, and it shows that the 9 different types of cars. Now coming back to count function and see that why it is giving 0. Count function only counts the numerics and it doesn't count the text, whereas this column, the column B, is a text column. So that is why the count function is not counting it, whereas the COUNTA function counts the text as well as the numerics. For instance, if we come back in this cell, we press F2, we go in the cell and the formula becomes visible. Now we have this 4-sided arrow sign. Click on the mouse and shift this to the next column, which is based on the numerics, and press enter, and here we can see that the count function is giving the figures now, which it was previously not giving. Now moving on to another way of how we can use the sum by naming the ranges. For example, we go in the data table and we select our data by pressing shift down arrow key, and here in the cell reference we name it total revenue and we press enter. Now all of these cells combined are given name of the total revenue. So we can just go in the cell over here, we write sum and we write total revenue, the cells that we have selected, and we close the bracket and we press enter, and here we can see that we get our desired results. Just to make it more convenient for you to understand, we go in the home tab, we press the format painter, we just format it, and here we can see that it is same as that in the subtotal and as well as the sum formula which has been applied over here. For instance, if we are going to apply simple multiplication by using the arithmetic operator, that is a steric, and we go in these two cells and we press enter, and here we see that we are not getting the results as we want. For instance, if we want the rounded off figure, we're not getting that. So we can use the round formula. We press is equal to, we press ROU, and it gives us an option of round. Either we press over here or we press tab. We go in the cell, we multiply, we put a comma, and we say that we want to round it off, and we close the bracket and we press enter, and now you can see that it is giving the rounded off figures. Despite it is showing the decimal places, but it is showing the rounded off figures, we can just remove the decimals like this. And moving on to the last and the 12th formula, here we have seen that we have made another column, that is column F, and each of the row is multiplying the column D and column E, and then we are summing and we are getting the total revenue. If you don't want to create additional column, then we can have the SUMPRODUCT function for getting the same results. So we press is equal to SUMPRODUCT, we select from here. The first array is this, the second array is this. Now whatever we have done multiplications over here in F column, it is going to execute that calculation and then it is going to sum. So we close the bracket and we press enter and we get our desired results. So if you want to get the multiplication of each row and after that you want a summation of that, you can use the SUMPRODUCT formula. This function is absolutely time saver if you don't want to add the additional column. Well, that's all for today. If you've liked the content, then make sure that as an appreciation, you hit the like and subscribe button. Your comments act as a navigation tool for this channel, so make sure that you give your comments down below in the comment section. And see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.